Hello, my name is Rebecca Wheeler. I'm a clinical psychologist and the director of RWA Psychology Family Matters. A significant part of the work I do is supporting both mums and dads during the pregnancy period, talking through the birth experience, and adjusting to the joys and the demands of parenting, whatever it might bring. This includes those who simply need a bit of extra support during this time, as well as those with stronger mental health difficulties. As well as my work here at my clinic in Beecroft, I'm also a consultant at Westmead Private Hospital in maternity, where I work closely with the midwives and the obstetricians, supporting again both mums and dads during the pregnancy period, as well as mums in that early postpartum period. One of the things I do is run a group for mums who have just had babies, talking with them about the emotions of becoming mum and what comes next. I thought today I'd share with you a little bit about what I talk to these mums about. So essentially, becoming mum, the emotions and what comes next. You'll hear as I'm talking that I will assume you may have just had baby, but of course you may be watching this for different reasons. You've spent the last 9 months or so, give or take, of course, growing baby in your belly, preparing for this moment, for baby's arrival. And now baby is here. It is absolutely a time of mixed emotions. Many women feel a sense of joy and accomplishment, achievement and accomplishment, but there are many feelings that you might have. Love, joy, euphoria, exhaustion, relief, shock, victory, fear, even trauma. I encourage you to simply make space for whatever you might be feeling right now. When do we become mums? Well, you first become a mum during pregnancy. Your body is preparing and growing baby inside your belly. Your mind is preparing for your new identity as mother. Pregnancy is a time of imaginings and dreamings. Who will my baby be? Who will I be as mother? What will my baby look like? What do I hope for my baby? This is our dreamed or imagined baby at this stage, and it can absolutely be a time of reflecting on our experiences of being parented, as well as what kind of parent we would like to be. Then you've got the birth of baby. What just happened? This can be a magical, hard, traumatic time. Often you have endured more than you thought possible. Perhaps baby's birth went smoothly. Maybe there was an emergency, an unplanned C-section. Perhaps baby arrived early or late. There was more intervention or less. Was really fast or way too long. Essentially, birth can happen in many different ways. Your experience of birth really can influence how you're feeling right now in these days following birth of baby. You might feel cheated or even a bit traumatized if things didn't go to plan. Even if baby's birth was classed as medically normal, you might still be feeling shell-shocked and confronted by your emotions. Birth encompasses a physical, an emotional, and a mental load. There are those first moments after birth, hearing your baby's first cry, holding them skin to skin. When you both first look at each other in the eyes, that mutual gaze that's there. But perhaps if things didn't go to plan, maybe you weren't able to do these things straight away. Perhaps baby needed some special care. And this can really influence how you're feeling right now. Again, make space for whatever feelings might be there. It really can take time for the dust to settle, so to speak, after birth. Talking it through, telling your birth story to understanding ears, talking about what happened and what you were feeling at different points can really help. Talk to the wonderful midwives or your obstetrician if you're still in hospital or going back for a postnatal check, of course, at usually the 6-week mark. If you have any lingering questions, this can be really, really helpful to help make sense of what happened and why you might be feeling the way that you are. It can help explain and understand what happened. Um, of course, talk to your partner, to friends or family. Tell them what you're feeling, what you're thinking. That also can help in a different way of just being able to talk through your birth experience again with those that are understanding ears. Then you've got going home. This is where the basic tasks of parenting get real. It can be both exciting and scary. Most new parents talk about the fear they'll actually feel bringing baby home. Now I have to keep baby alive. It's really natural. These are natural fears, actually, to help keep us vigilant in looking after baby. We want to be aware, though, of them becoming too much. We are primed to feel this apprehension. But in modern society, the dangers just aren't as intense as what our brain thinks. Our brain can remain quite stuck, actually, in that early primal times, the earliest of days when we had to fight absolutely hardly in a very tough manner to keep our baby alive, to keep us alive. And so our brain is designed to trigger off these feelings of fear and apprehension to ensure we do what's best for our baby, to look after our baby. So even though we don't have those primarily those concerns here in modern life, our brain hasn't caught up with modern times. Sleep is something that we often fear. Are they safe? Will they be safe? Are they getting enough milk when it's feeding? Do I have enough milk, or is formula okay? The desire to protect them from others. These are all some of the examples of some of the fears that we might feel. Fears lessen, but they never really go away. We learn to live with them, but not be ruled by them. And that's really important to say. If you feel, and I'll talk a bit about this later, but if you feel that those fears are dominating your experience, then I'd really encourage you to get some support and to talk to somebody about that. We want to make space for the joy and delight in your baby, for you to feel that joy and delight in baby in these early days, as well as everything else that you might be feeling. A few other points. Fatigue. You're always on the job, but accept help. Share the load. Baby is not just your responsibility. Talk to your partner about what you need from them. Ask your family for help, or your friends if your family aren't around. Reach out to your early childhood nurse, to your doctor. Connect with a local mothers group. It's really important to stay connected, be in touch with people, and let people know what you actually need. Be really specific with your family and friends in particular. If they're wanting to help, say, yes, please, can you please pick up some milk on the way over? Actually, can you pop that load of washing on while I'm feeding baby? Can you hold baby while I'm having a shower? Or while I go and have a sleep. Be really directive about what you need so that you can look after yourself and mitigate some of the fatigue that you might be feeling. Crying babies. Of course, babies cry. I know that's obvious. They are designed to. This is their main mean of communications. It doesn't mean, though, that something's wrong or that we're doing something wrong. This is the bit that I really want to talk about with crying, because I know we all know babies cry, and it is absolutely challenging when babies are crying and we're not sure what to do. But mums often feel like their ability to soothe their baby and stop them from crying is a direct reflection on their ability to be a good mother. And it's not. It is simply not. Learning to hear, to make sense of, and simply be with our babies when they cry is important. It'll take time to understand and learn about your baby's cues. Give yourself time to learn this. Our role isn't actually to stop our babies from crying, but to learn how to attune and respond sensitively to our babies when they do cry. Having said that, having had a couple of babies, it's really nice when we hold them quietly and snuggle in our arms, and they can nestle in. So I understand that crying babies is a challenge, but we want to see it differently, as in, I have to stop them from crying, and this is a reflection on who I am as mum. As I said, it's simply not. Okay, breastfeeding versus bottle feeding. Here's one to tackle. It simply doesn't matter. Yes, This is a time for baby to get nourishment, but it really is more than that. This is a time to be with your baby, to slow down, to look at your baby, to hold your baby, to talk, to hold them close while you're feeding them, I should say, to touch and to stroke to baby, talk with them while you're feeding them, look at them, notice them, interact with them, regardless of whether you're breastfeeding or bottle feeding. You can have the absolute same experience while you're feeding your baby, a time to simply be with your baby and to learn more about your babies. It can take time for you and baby to get into the rhythm of feeding. Allow that time. Take the pressure off. It doesn't happen straight away. This is a learning experience for both you and for baby. And by slowing the process down and taking the time to look at baby, to attune to baby, and to understand what might be going on with them, can really help and support the feeding process as well. I should add, actually, is of course ask for support if you need it. Talk to the midwives if you're in hospital. Talk to lactation consultants, to the early childhood nurse. Whether again it's breastfeeding or bottle feeding, when you need support with feeding, is ask questions and get that support. Okay, sense of self. Mothers often fear they're going to lose a sense of who they are, of themselves, when baby arrives. Really doesn't need to be this way is the best thing to say. Yes, our lives are different, but we can create space for a sense of ourselves as an individual as well as mother. Talk with your partner about how to create some time for yourself, doing the things that you enjoy, having time out. It's okay to step away from baby for some time, to have somebody else hold baby, to feed baby if bottle feeding is what you're doing, to change baby's nappies, to be with baby while you go to the shops, while you catch up with friends for a quick coffee, while you go for a walk, while you have a sleep. Being with baby all the time is again not a judgment on how you're parenting and being a good enough mother. Really important to remember that and to hold on to that sense of self as individual as well. What do babies need from us? Okay, they simply need us. They are not looking for perfect parents. They don't care who you are, how much money you have, what kind of cot you have, where you live, what pram, all of those things. They simply want you and for you both to spend the next year getting to know each other and developing this relationship. Babies are primed to attach to us. That ensures their survival, and everything they do is about eliciting a response from us. Our challenge, of course, is trying to interpret what they're needing from us at that time. We start bonding with babies during our pregnancy, and it gets stronger after birth. But it can take time, and that's okay. It is not unusual at all for some mums to not feel that instant moment of joy, love, euphoria when they first hold baby in their arms. Many things can influence that, including birth experience, as well as what perhaps was happening for you leading up to birth experience. So please be really mindful of that. And again, do not see that as a judgment on you and baby and the relationship that you'll have. The first 6 weeks are full of very raw feelings. Slow down. Take time to get to know your baby. Give them time to get to know you. Look at your baby. Talk to your baby. Your baby knows you, your voice, your smell. Hold them close, touch them. Let yourself settle into this space. If you do find it's taking some time for those feelings to come in, then I would encourage you to talk with somebody about that again, whether it's the midwives, your obstetrician, your early childhood nurse, a psychologist like myself, a supportive friend or family. Talk with somebody about that. Okay, so what I've been talking about today is what most new mums experience in some way or another. But there are times, however, when new mums can experience stronger challenges in the months following baby's arrival. Most of us have heard about the baby blues, and this can be a time of, or a surge of emotions in the days following birth of baby, when those shifting hormones and trying to make sense of all that you are feeling post-birth can lead to feeling quite teary and a little bit emotional. That would usually settle within a few days. Postnatal depression and anxiety, however, is a very different experience and can be experienced anytime in the 12 months following birth of baby. More than 1 in 7 women experience postnatal depression and anxiety. Even up to 1 in 10 fathers can experience postnatal depression. Some of the signs of postnatal depression and anxiety may be things like panic attacks, racing heart, palpitations, shortness of breath, shaking, feeling detached, a heaviness in your chest, persistent generalized worry, often focusing on fears for your health and well-being of your baby, obsessive compulsive behaviors, increased sensitivity to noise or touch, changes in appetite, sleep problems unrelated to baby's needs. So essentially, if baby's sleeping and sleeping quite well, but you're not sleeping, that's a concern. Extreme lethargy, again, more than you would expect with a new mum. Feeling physically or emotionally overwhelmed and unable to cope with the demands of looking after baby. Memory problems, loss of concentration, loss of confidence, constant sadness or crying, withdrawal from friends or family, a loss of interest in activities you would normally enjoy, fears of being alone with baby, intrusive thoughts of harming self or baby, and these thoughts might actually bring a great deal of distress when you have them, irritability or anger, thoughts of death or suicide. Someone with postnatal depression or anxiety might experience some of these symptoms or all of them. If you feel that this may be a concern for you, then I'd really encourage you to reach out and to get some support. A combination of family genetics, family history, life circumstances, our own way of thinking and coping can influence this experience for you. It's really essential that you talk to somebody if you're experiencing these symptoms, your partner, your GP, your obstetrician, a psychologist. A combination of talking therapies and potentially medication can really support you with these feelings and help you get back to a place of enjoying baby and parenting. On a finishing note, make space for whatever you are feeling right now. Allow time to settle into this new experience and to get to know baby. Parenting is full of the busyness of life, I guess, and looking after baby, but allow yourself to feel the love, the joy, and delight in your baby. Go gently during this time.